Tired of spending hours bookkeeping? Well, in this episode here, we're going to talk about how to automate your bookkeeping, the best tools, and how to use them. Welcome back to another episode of Millennial Gems. My name is Akila McIntosh. I am a certified QuickBooks Pro Advisor, and I help business owners and entrepreneurs like you organize your financial transactions. So, today we're going to talk about automating your bookkeeping. So the first thing is, why should you automate your bookkeeping? First thing is, it saves time and it's going to help you make sure that you don't have too many errors. Now, why do we automate most things? So that way we don't have to manually always, take care of whatever it is. We automate our payments for our credit cards, our phone bills, our car notes, all these bills we automate it so that way we don't have to keep logging into our apps or logging into, the platforms to pay them manually so that way you don't forget. It'll just automatically come out. So that's the reason why we automate things. The same thing in your bookkeeping. You want to automate it so that way you don't have to go in constantly and always have to make changes. It'll just auto populate, and then all you need to do is just make sure everything is copacetic. Just review it. Boom. Move on to the next transaction. Next thing is it's going to keep your records up to date. Again, you're going to create rules when you're in your bookkeeping software. Specifically, if you're using, QuickBooks Online or so, you're going to create rules which you can then set to automate. So it's going to keep everything organized as it comes in on your statements, on your cards, or your bank accounts as it comes in. And then last thing, it's going to make things easier for tax season. You don't want to have to be scrambling, trying to do all the transactions, trying to categorize them to figure out where you want to take deductions, and all this other sort of stuff. You want to make sure you have all that stuff organized as you go, either weekly, monthly, quarterly. You want to make sure you have that stuff done by the time you're ready to file your taxes. So it should be smooth sailing. All right. So what are some of the best tools for automating your bookkeeping? Well, there are many softwares out there, Zero, Zapier, probably some other stuff. But I use QuickBooks. That is the main platform. That is what most business owners are using. So, QuickBooks offers, auto categorization, bank syncing, invoicing, a whole bunch of tools that'll just kind of, streamline the process for doing business. So that would say, I'm just fairly biased. QuickBooks is the platform you should be using. And if you are currently a business owner or entrepreneur and you're not using QuickBooks, set up a consultation with me. So that way we can have a little chat and see, if we are the best fit. And I will show you why you should be using QuickBooks. So, all right, next thing is, how do you set up these tools? How do you set them up and how do you use these tools? So in QuickBooks, when you first look at the platform, the first thing you want to do is you want to sync your bank accounts and credit cards accounts. Now, this is for people that are doing the bookkeeping themselves. They're not outsourcing bookkeeping just yet. You're kind of just doing it yourself. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to you're going to link your credit cards and you're going to link your bank accounts. Next thing you're going to do, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to create rules, auto categorization rules. So every time a certain description or certain wording pops up, it'll automatically read it and auto categorize what that transaction is. And then, like I said earlier, you're just going to make sure it's right. You're going to review it before you clear it to make sure that, it'll be accounted for. So that'll be the next thing, creating the rules. Which, again, if you don't want to do this, you can always outsource to a bookkeeper like myself, and I can take care of that for you. Third thing is invoicing and payments. So QuickBooks does allow you to create invoices, and you can create an invoice that you can pretty much use every single time you have a client who needs to pay their monthly bill, or just anybody who's going to owe you money for a certain, you know, service, whether it's cleanups, uh, whether it's catch ups, or if, again, just monthly bookkeeping or a half a year bookkeeping. Um, but essentially, yes, QuickBooks does allow you to automate your invoicing and payments, so that way it, you don't have to worry about it all the time. You don't have to keep setting it up. You don't have to keep creating a new invoice. It'll just streamline it. Next thing is you can use QuickBooks to scan receipts. So if you have the QuickBooks app, there is a section in there where it has like a little camera. I don't know if exactly it was a camera. I have to look at it again, but there's a section on the phone in the app where it'll allow you to scan your receipt, and then you just categorize um, that receipt, and then it'll upload it right into the feed. And then again, from there, you just kind of review it and just make sure it's right, all the information is correct before you move on to the next the next transaction. So make sure and you don't have to use just QuickBooks. There are plenty of receipt scanning apps out there, but I think it's just easier if you use QuickBooks. If you're already using QuickBooks, it's just better to use the phone app if you want to record any like receipts or so. Again, that'll play a huge part in when you're doing taxes later. And then lastly, generating financial reports. Like, I don't think anybody would want to ever go through the process of having to manually put together a balance sheet and trying to calculate all those numbers, or putting together the numbers for your income statement and having to put all those numbers together. Great thing about QuickBooks is that it'll automatically update that stuff as long as you are updating your transactions and organizing and categorizing them correctly. So that's one of the services I also offer as well. We generate your up-to-date statements. Again, if you want it, I give it to you monthly, whatever day you choose, preferably monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, however you want to receive them. We do it all. So those would be your 5 steps of how to set up your bookkeeping and how to use the tools to automate it. Now, what are some bonus tips? Well, you can use AI-driven insights to help with better decision making. As you guys know, AI is pretty much here now in 2025, still rising, and it's only going to become more concrete. So, there are plenty of tools out there that's pretty much making it so much more easier to just streamline, find more information, and kind of just doing, everything for us. So if you're not already using different AI tools, it's probably best to utilize that. And as a bookkeeper, I utilize AI myself to kind of just help, streamline this process, because there's gonna come a point where AI is gonna start replacing people. So, and AI does take away some of the heavy lifting of completing jobs and tasks and stuff like that. So, and finding information and research. I would also schedule financial reviews, regular financial reviews, that is. So, whether that needs to be a weekly thing you do, whether that needs to be a monthly thing, whether you need to do it, semi-annually, quarterly, just make sure you're speaking with a financial advisor, just to kind of and your bookkeeper, just to make sure things are as they should be. Things are in line. Things are looking good. Just to confirm you know all your transactions are business transactions. Make sure you're not mixing your personal and business together. So just making sure you're just constantly, regularly having conversations with a financial advisor or your CPA and your bookkeeper. And then lastly, I would just say outsource your bookkeeping, which, if you don't already know, I am, and said at the top of the video, I am a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. So if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur who has who's seasoned, you already got bookkeeping going, you're looking for a new bookkeeper, or if you're a brand new um, business owner and don't want to handle doing your bookkeeping, you can outsource it to someone like myself. I will leave my website link down in the description and pin it in the comments so that way you guys can schedule a consultation with me to see if you are a good fit and to see if it's good, if we can do some business together. So that would be the third bonus tip: outsource your bookkeeping if needed. All right. So what we talked about today was simply, why you need to automate it, best tools for automating your bookkeeping, how to set them up, and then how to use the tools, and then I gave you guys some bonus tips on what you could do. So if this was helpful, I definitely want you guys to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. If you are listening to this on any podcast platform, hit that follow button, leave a 5-star review if you definitely like it. And for more bookkeeping and business tips, make sure you're following the podcast. Make sure you're following me on YouTube. All of my social media links will be left down in the description. Peace.